Yes, good morning and a wonderful Monday morning to you all. Definitely, it was a wonderful packed sport weekend, and I'm sure that a lot of us have been expecting what will happen on today's show. Yes, interestingly, one part of the show will be dedicated to FIFA's ban on former Golden Eaglet star Orji Okonkwo, who was part of the 2015 Under-17 World Cup, including Victor Osimhen and talking about Chukwueze. They did wonders for us in 2015 when they won the Under-17 World Cup under Emmanuel Amunike. It's, what is even not interesting also is the fact that he has been banned for 4 years for taking a banned substance, and the banned substance, according to the FIFA report, is called PlusTvAfrica. And he was alleged to be using that for a knee injury. Let's also remind you, this is just a few weeks away from what happened to Nwokocha Grace of the 4x100 meters Commonwealth gold medalist, though we are awaiting the final decision from that. But I have Tosin Oluwalowo, who will be speaking to us on this ban and what it means to Nigeria. Tosin, good morning. It's good to have you.
Good morning. It's so good to be on air with you.
Yeah, so good to have you too. Yes, we're not expecting this. We know that Orji Okonkwo plays in Thailand, Syria. He has done so well for himself and was part of the team that gave us. But why is not also much we hear a footballer taking bad substances, but this has come, and what do you think and make of this story?
Okay, so good morning once again. I think one of the reasons it gets a little hard to get to hear footballers taking banned substances is because their competitions happen almost every week. So you most likely be aware that they will be prone to testing more often than other sports, maybe athletics, for example, who don't get to compete in major competitions regularly. So I think that's one of the reasons why you hardly get to hear that from football. It is for Nigerian sports generally, again, it's a sad news that we are getting to hear this of a Nigerian, just like you said again, not long after the Grace Nwokocha issue, and not too long after the Blessing Okagbare issue. So I think it's generally a bad story to tell about sports or Nigerians in sports.
So does that mean that the bodies in charge, or the knowledge that is meant to be applied to enable, or the implementation of whatever policy we have in place, does that mean it's not properly implemented, or there's not so much you can do for a footballer, unlike what we can do for an athletic where they do out of competition test? What do you think must have been the reason? Because he said that he was taking it for a problematic knee injury. But what's your opinion on this? How true do you think that to be?
Okay, to start with, I think you cannot hold any Nigerian body responsible for what has happened to Orji Okonkwo. It happened in Italy, and I'm not sure, at least it's not been in Nigeria to compete for a long time. So, and it wasn't on national team duty, so you cannot say it's a Nigerian thing as regards administration, so to say. So for me, I think I'd start from there. Then going forward, he talked about the fact that he was using it to heal himself of a knee injury. Like I mentioned somewhere in discussions with people, even concerning the Grace Nwokocha issue too. Athletes generally, it's a business, or it's a profession. Athletics or sports generally is a profession that it requires so much discipline, and it requires so much alertness. It means that as a practitioner of sports, as an athlete, you are responsible for whatever you take in. And before you take any medication, so be it, you have to be very sure. You have to be very sure that it's what is not prohibited. All of the lists of substances prohibited by WADA are in open source for all to see. So it's something that you have to look through, so that before you take any medication, you have to ask around, does this contain any substance that is prohibited or the likes? We are very much aware of something similar that happened to former Ajax keeper, Cameroon keeper Onana. who also was banned for a year. Some, I think it was maybe reduced to 6 months, maybe later, sometime in 2021, for taking banned substances unknowingly too. So even if it's unknowingly or if it's something you take for medical use, you are still responsible one way or the other, and then you will face the consequences as the need comes.
It was the Italian NADO, that is the national anti-doping
Yes,
for Italy, that found out
anti-doping. Yes.
about the issue first, and before FIFA extended it. He has an opportunity to appeal, but based on past incidents, do you think the appeal might be reduced? Do you think the ban might be reduced based on his appeal, or you think FIFA went a little bit further, that the not do the one first ban given to him by the Italian side would have been enough? Why did you think FIFA rather extended this ban to 4 years?
So generally, I think one of the reasons why FIFA came in, just like even in every other sport, is that they are the ones that administer the game of football, and it means if they did not bring it into four, he will only be ineligible to play in games in Italy. So it means, for example, Nigeria could say they want to invite him for international tournaments. He might say, for example, he wants to come to Nigerian league to start playing. So I think generally it's supposed to be a universal body taking charge of all of the things that happen concerning the sports. And once they see that you fall short of what they expect, they do what they should do. And I think they've done the right thing. I don't see anything bad in what FIFA has done with that.
Yeah, if you look at his star, he's 24 years old, and he has done so well for himself. He was one of those bright stars for 2015, where we have Victor Osimhen, also Chukwueze, and the rest of the Wankali brothers. One of the Wankali brothers, that's Kelechi. If he is not reduced, 24 years old, 4 years is going to be 28, and if he's not reduced, what do you think will happen to such a star, or what do you think he should be doing with himself for 4 years without playing what he has loved so much?
Even in as much as we might not want to be pessimistic, it's almost safe to say that his career is almost is close to being over. Like you said, he's 24. In 4 years' time, he will be 28. It means that not not taking part in any form of competition for 4 years, just personal training here and there. He wouldn't even see you won't see a club that if it's, let's say, 6 months, you will say you still have a running contract, maybe like the case of Onana. You still have a running contract, or you can train one way or the other. They know that you'll be back in 6 months. I'm sure that his contract with Bologna, I believe, should have expired before then, and then you will not see any club sign a player who is under ban. So you definitely see that he will be out of form, he will be out of shape, and then after he's back, we see picture. I think it was recently that I saw pictures of players who stopped playing football. Wesley Snyder, I saw Wesley Snyder. I saw Sami Nasri, and you see them big, fat in just 2 years of not being involved in sports actively. So you now imagine somebody not being involved in sports actively for 4 years. You won't expect that that person will come back to the same shape that he was before now, except a big miracle happens. I don't think he might still get into football one way or the other, but I don't think his career will get to the level it was before the ban came into effect.
Now, look at some people think there's a role that need to be played by the Nigerian Football Federation in the extent of making sure that in his appeal, because obviously he has played for Nigeria. He has, I think, one or two caps for Nigeria, if I'm right. But don't you think the NFF needs a role to play in response to this?
So, like I say in cases like this, personal opinion anyway, I only think the role NFF and all of these are national football bodies can play in this kind of situation is just emotional support and nothing more. If even if NFF joins in its appeal, if NFF say they want to join as a party in its appeal, if it's going to be favorable with the NFF not being involved, it's going to be favorable. If it's not going to be favorable with NFF being involved, it's also not going to be favorable. So I don't think there's anything that will help his appeal, even if the NFF comes in or if they don't come in. I think FIFA, they've applied the rule just like it should be applied. It's so unfortunate, and we hope that maybe something, maybe with form, just like you mentioned earlier, even just like we also said in the case of Onana. Maybe I think if I get it correctly, that it was maybe reduced to maybe 6 months from a year. I think I should be correct with that. I think maybe that's the best we can hope or pray for. Maybe a reduced ban or the likes. We even had recently the case of it should be a Yimba captain, Austin Oladapo. I think he was even also suspended for a period of time, maybe 6 months or so, sometime last year for being testing positive for banned substance. So I think it's what we athletes have to live with. Is part of the game. Once you are caught one way or the other, you have to bear the consequences. And just like you said, it's unfortunate being one of the rising stars of that 2015 generation of golden eaglets. You don't have that many of them who excel, even at club level, at a big stage. You can count with the fingers in your hands the number who you can say excel, got into big clubs immediately after the Golden Eaglets won that World Cup in 2015. So
Yeah,
it's a sad
yeah.
thing to say, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. You can say that. I'm going to take a bit of your time off what we are talking about because I know you are so conservant with Remo Stars. But before we look at Remo Stars and how they went out of the Confederation Cup with all the old, let me ask you: if it was, you mentioned Austin Oladapo, if this incident has happened in the Nigerian Professional League, do you think there will be a searchlight from FIFA to extend the ban? Because I think it's because he plays outside the country and a very popular club. That is why FIFA could get note. But if it was to be in a Nigerian club, do you think FIFA will put on that searchlight to enforce the worldwide ban?
No, I don't think that would have been in place in any way. It's not something. It's not as if it's been happening frequently. It's not as if you've had maybe 6 players or 5 players in a club or in the national team get banned for that. It's just one case out of a million. Just like we are talking about now. I'm not sure we can readily, without having to search through the internet or the likes, think about any time that has happened to any Nigerian player of prominence in recent times. So I don't think it's anything serious that FIFA would have taken it as an isolated case, and they would have dealt with the player the same way they are dealing with this at the moment.